Singing earlier with that powerful voice he's got, Terry Dawson. This is a story. He may have some poems here. I know he does poems, but called Under the Seats. This is pretty incredible.
Thanks, Tony. And thanks especially for all the work you put in making a beautiful journal. It's so eclectic and lovely. I happen to be a Presbyterian minister. I haven't served a church since I've been here in Texas, but I do go to church and have work with the young people. Something I said I'd never do again after I did it for many years, but somehow they find me and need me, and so I'm there. And so I'm going to read this poem, this short story that is in here. It's flash fiction, but it actually is true. I changed some of the identities so that, sorry, I'm having trouble finding here on my iPhone. I had a bookmark here too. Tony, you don't happen to know where it is in here?
I don't know. My copy.
Oh, there it is. I find it. Thanks. It's entitled Cocoon.
Yeah, I mislaid my copy. I don't know where it ended up.
The assertion God is marvelous, the meaning of his Nigerian name, changed none of the tragic facts. Akosa, wrapped in gauzy white, head to stumps, where his legs once extended, simply breathed by machine. We looking on only hoped that he'd soon emerged from his cocoon, the dazzling butterfly of a boy he'd been. We considered his way of extracting laughter from us, bursting into our designated after-worship classroom, imitating our rector's Harvard Yard accent. Jesus said to his disciples, he never failed to leave all present doubled over. The fact that he convinced those in his high school that his name was Barack, like the president at the time, also set something in us free. Still, we could not go back in time to stop him from going out on New Year's Eve with a friend just stopping by. We could not stop them both from stopping to help two girls who'd run out of gas, or to keep them from filling a bucket at the pump. When someone lit a cigarette, it was already too late for the one holding that gas-heavy container. Akosa, God is marvelous. After a week, the doctors unwrapped the spongy white web to make it easier for the family to say, turn off the machine. Extremities burned away, the clear plastic keeping internal organs in place allowed us to see how they'd all grown ashen and ineffective. Yet even with those full lips fried to cinder and those mischievous eyes sealed shut, we still waited for him to pull joy from us. Finally, his father wailed, my boy, my prince, and called on me to pray. And though I felt I lost my faith that day, I did. And did because I remembered what he'd said while playing a church school game that asked, how would you spend your last day knowing that you'd surely die upon the next? Las Vegas, Hollywood, and Disneyland fantasies emerged in short order from the other teens. But Akosa matter-of-factly uttered, I'd spend it praying with my family. And so he did. Still, I do not remember a word I said as I stood sweating through my antiseptic yellow paper mask and armor in that tiny room kept hot to make up for the patient's lack of skin. I would not be there at the end or at the cemetery when folks tossed onto the casket Texas caliche and clods of thirsty earth. We had gotten lost on the way to the graveside ceremony and arrived too late. My daughter, Fiona, and I were then left to imagine the sound felt as well as heard with each one's passing handful. I envisioned the mourners when having come full circle, staring at the open ground as we had at his cocoon. Our hope at once stubborn and completely done in. God is marvelous, I heard Fiona, Okosa's friend, say as we watched the others who gathered drift across the mowed, but now brown grass toward their cars, and then add, almost under her breath, is gone. Try for something up later, a little bit later. This is forthcoming in an online journal called Talking Writing, and they're focused on disability and have a lot of stories of folks who I know and love who are so-called disabled. But they weren't interested in those, they were interested in my own disability, so that's what they chose. Drive time. When in view, the sky, nervously but almost indiscernibly, folds and unfolds its hands. The sun intermittently peeing through the lace of fingers. It's that kind of day. And again, I'm driving. It appears I've always someplace else to be. Familiar wire-headed dead cedar poles and live oaks with twisted reach sentinel side by side the route mutely, but I'm certain they whisper to each other, "Oh, him again." The aging vitreous of both eyes torn, I can no longer drive at night. Unrelenting fireworks flash on the periphery of my vision in the dark, but by day, weather remains my faithful companion. As notions, a barrelful trapped in an undersized cortex, compete for attention. The shifting firmament keeps me from greeting up close one of these stiff and gossipy soldiers with only a crumpled bumper between us. My internal Google Maps ticks off the landmarks. I get where I attend to what I've arrived for, and turn round again. The climate slightly altered, the woody bystanders the same. To beat the setting sun, I, as if a vampire, skedaddle like an atta ant swallowing tarmac as I rotate the compost of mental business, my feet rooted to springy petals, the strands of my head extending to tickle the cumulus clouds, gleaming now and then with pissy disposition as they pray for rain, and then erase the very idea in a disappearing white wave goodbye. Home in the nick of time, the glare of day absorbed into the opposite folds of my dewy corneas. I was raised, like maybe some of you, in parochial environment. I had, as a high schooler, went to a school taught by the Christian Brothers, but it was the St. Joseph nuns that taught me when I was in grammar school. And I didn't realize till I was older there was a conspiracy going on the whole time to craft me into a Roman Catholic priest. It didn't quite take, but I have mixed feelings about these women that are an important part of my life. My aunt is actually Sister of St. Joseph, and I'd come down Saturday mornings and there would be a gang of them around our Christmas table. They were there at Christmas too. They seemed to be always there. They're having breakfast, and so there are things that they taught me that maybe no one else could. And I've gained a great respect for these women as I've gotten older, and they've comforted me in their communities, really. There's something special. But there are those who also haunt my dreams. And so I'm going to dedicate this poem to Mary Oliver and have the epigraph here at the beginning of that. She has recently passed. You only have to let the soft animal of your body love what it loves. New Heart, decimal. Two nun voices curl in my ear. What is that thing? Commands the first. Pocket it now. But sister, I cannot argue, left then to bury and bleed out my new heart, decimal by decimal, vow by phonics sounded vow. Never sought this novel throb, a satchel of pennies, or is it wings, both heavy and restless, wrestling to a shift, what once shore, now shoreless, no place to break upon, and into flocks of loose change, a mounting ebb, still strange, yet I grow as used to it as I do a priest or neighbor luring with prayers or candy into a place. Into a place of shadows. I dare not pull it out again, but it will not stop. It's love-dub, swallowing every breath, all reds and red scents, weighing down, fluttering. It will not drain away before someone interrupts. The other nun, son, what's wrong? Sorry. When you read these things out loud, it's a little different.